So we're making a determination now. Do we go to Chicago?
Many of our citizens say yes. Let's go back and review what the men of Chicago had to say since 2023 at City Hall and other parts of Chicago. These are men that support Republican conservatives and spoke their mind, facts, or truths to the world.
But we can straighten out Chicago. All they have to do is ask us to go into Chicago if we don't have the support of some of these politicians. But I'll tell you who is supporting us, the people of Chicago.
Harry Tubman said, I could have freed more of my people if they knew they was on the plantation. Some people hate me when I say these big-headed white men run. That's the truth. I didn't lie. Some of you all black ones been here, selling out for your own selfish reasons, selling your community out, selling your people out. Sell out. House in. Something is wrong here. Something is mighty wrong here. We have never had a black mayor. Never. We've always had black overseers. We have never had a black alderman that didn't pander to the white establishment. So some of you white folks, I'm looking at your face. It's turning red. We need to turn this city red. Trump, come in here. Come by here, Trump. I'll leave one plantation to another plantation on my way to Freedom Land. On my way to Freedom Land.
How long are you all gonna keep putting these black aldermen in a trip bag? And he's like, what do you mean? I said, you know what the hell I mean. I said, you all keep dropping this stuff, they say, on surprise attacks, and then they're left to hold the bag to explain it, and the mayor doesn't come up to back them up at all. Well, I said, do you realize that you're trashing Black Wall Street on the far southwest side? Oh, we're putting camps everywhere. I said, I'll tell you what, go ahead and put one over here and find out, mess around and find out if your heart doesn't have to go to the Lord, because your ass is going to be fit for none but the crows.
We spoke earlier, and the last thing that I wanted to address was the fact that you took taxpayers' money, and we want to correct you when you say that these people aren't illegal. If you come somewhere under the guise of something that really didn't happen, and you're saying something happened and it really didn't, to claim a sanctuary or to claim to be able to go to a sanctuary status, you didn't tell the truth, you lied, and you're breaking the law. So what we really want to happen is all the money that Brandon is so happily handing out to people that don't look like us, we want to find some type of lawsuit or some type of injunction for you to give us our money back. You did not ask our permission, and we want it back. What do you think, sir?
I'm in agreement with it. You can't come up with $300 million and then another $160 million, and then they say by the end of the year it's going to be over 440 tied into this whole thing, and the people not have a say-so in what's going on. You can't just take taxpayers' dollars and say this is what we're going to do with it. We don't do that any other time. Well, we shouldn't do that any other time, and most of the things are voted on or they're looked into, like so much money for the roads, so much money for the school, so much money for this, and these are things that are studied and they're laid out. So how did we come up with over $600 million by the end of the first quarter of next year by giving to an illegals coming into the United States? When did any of us sit down and vote on that? When was there a case study done on that? When did anybody from our town, city, nothing was done. They just said, we're going to take your money, and we're just going to give it to these people because we said that's what we're going to do, and you got to be okay with it.
If you are enjoying this content, hit that like button, share, and tell us your thoughts.
Before our next speaker, I would respectfully ask yet again that those that are participating in democracy allow our speakers to finish their presentation. If you cannot adhere to that expectation, I'm going to ask that our Sergeant at Arms remove you. Give our speakers the respect that they deserve. Their 3 minutes. You may commence, sir.
Good afternoon, Mayor.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody here. My name is Richard. Last name is Paso. I'm a store manager at an automotive facility here in Chicago. I'm a native to Chicago. It's near and dear to my heart. The city doesn't feel the same anymore. There's a lot of stuff going on right now that's really hard to process. There's a lot of people here that have watched me on social media. I'm a social media influencer, and I've heard the word getting back to me. Some of the people that work for you have gotten stuff back to me. I'm going to say what I have to say regardless. You can come after me if you want. You can try to slander me if you want. Some of the aldermen can talk behind my back if you want. But there's 31 out of 50 aldermen, December 14th, that turned their back on the public, that said, I will not take their vote on this city continuing to be a sanctuary city. You turned it to yourself to speak for us. You turned it to yourself to speak for the public. We pay you. You work for us. We put you there. How can you stand there and say anything about, we don't want to take their vote? We're going to speak on their behalf, and this is how it's going to be. It shouldn't work that way. Any politician that feels like they deserve that type of control over people, they don't deserve to be politicians. They don't deserve to be in the spot that they're in. Second of all, I'm a veteran. I served 15 months in a war zone for this country where I got hurt. Yes, the VA does take care of me. But every year I'm hearing, let's take away, let's take away, let's take away, let's give back, let's take away, let's give back. But we have immigrants that serve with us, that put their life on the line, that are still fighting for citizenship, that are in the military, that deserve all the respect in the world, and they don't get it. They come back, they're still fighting for citizenship. Some of them don't get it, they get deported. These are people that put their life on the line for this country, for all of you to have the freedom and the jobs that you have, and they don't get the respect to have somebody care for them and help them through the process. But all of you guys out here will vote for people that are complete aliens to this country, that have nothing. Tren de Agua, Venezuela, anything coming from the Honduras, all these people are coming here. They've cleared out these prisons years ago. And they're sending all these people here. They don't want them there. They don't serve them a purpose. They're showing up here in New York, in Chicago, attacking people in the streets. The police are fighting with them in the shelters that you guys are funding. You guys think it's a great idea, but yet your police officers are getting attacked. Your public's getting attacked. You're putting our lives at risk by doing what you're doing, and none of you care about it because the mighty dollar sits on top. And as long as somebody's in your pocket that you're working with, you're okay with doing it. You don't care about the citizens. At some point in time, there's going to be an answering for this. What it is, I don't know. But it doesn't look good. And I don't respect most of the people that are in here because you turned your back on the citizens and you said your voice doesn't matter.
Thank you very much for your comments.
This $70 million. $70 million. And not counting the past millions of dollars that this city done approved of, or this state and the county, etc. $70 million. Y'all won't even put $1 million in one neighborhood. $1 million in one neighborhood. Brandon Mayor Johnson, you say that you for the children, etc., you for the youth. You know, you want to have work programs for the youth, etc. Well, $1 million for these work programs for these children. See, I'm not going to address nobody in the room no more. I'm going to just address you whenever it's a city council. Because I gave you a hard drive of what me and my family has experienced as far as the discrimination against me and my child and my wife. You know, that comes from places like the Safer Foundation. That come from All Chicago. That come from Bring Chicago Home. You see, that come for these ministers that y'all have. You know, if you go look on Bring Chicago Home site, you see all them reverends and things like that. They got all these nice churches in these neighborhoods. Nice mega churches. And our people homes. And I don't even want to say our people home, because some people, we got to be honest, they do let their stuff go. They do live up in trash, etc. And willingly of their own will. But what about the face? Like, what about 79th Street? You see what I'm saying? What about the face? What about 71st Street? What about all these different streets with these abandoned buildings, with these empty lots? And then the churches come up and try to buy these lots. That's why I say to the people, come up out of her. Come up out of Rome. That's why it says that, come up out of there. The snake is no good. It don't matter who they put at the head. He ain't running nothing. We got to be honest about this situation. But I'm still going to talk to you. I'm still going to call you out. I'm still going to say the names. And then I'm coming down here fighting about me and my family housing and being discriminated and retaliated against. The problem is racism. I guess you can hear me. The problem is racism. This is worse than Communist China. All these people sitting here, they're a member of one party, the Democratic machine. These black ones do not have our interests. They work for the master. These big-headed white men run this system. Man, they run it. And I was looking around and said, well, how many white women do they have here? You know, during suffrage, the white woman didn't like that because she couldn't vote and she was like a subject to a big-headed white man. So looking here, I don't see many white women here. One or two. So the problem here in Chicago is racism, nepotism, corruption, a one-party system. These big-headed white men run this. This big-headed man doesn't run this. Okay. These black ones, they don't have no power. Who slates them? Corporate America. Who runs corporate America? These big-headed white men. Now, you can be in denial. Now, look at you over there, passing right here. Look at that while I'm talking. Young lady, sit down. Sit down. Tell her to sit down. Tell her to sit down. So, wait a minute. You don't like this? I'm going to tell you. I'm educating you. I'm informing you. I'm enlightening you. These big-head white people that enslaved us brought us here. Now they're giving money to another people. Are they nappy, hair, big nose, thick lip, and a black booty hole like mine? No, they're not. And they're giving millions and millions of dollars to them. Can't you see how arrogant she is? When I told her to be seated, she's going to stand up and go, you work for us.
Mr. Blakemore, please stay in the microphone so we can hear you, sir. Thank you.
Something is mighty wrong here, sir. We are still on the white man's plantation, and I urge black people to be selfish. Are selfish people. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. Focus on you. They're giving millions. They're showing you better than they can tell you. They're showing you by giving. They're not giving no money to them. These big-headed white men. We're still on the plantation.
Thank you for your comments, Mr. Blakemore. Your time has expired.
We have to remember history, because the number one thing that we know for certain is that history always repeats itself. So, Mr. Johnson, I know that you can appreciate with me giving you a history lesson with you being a former social studies teacher from Elgin. Well, you plan on going back to the classroom anyway. That was the whole purpose with you taking a leave of absence, right? Well, besides the mental reason. I'm sorry, I wasn't supposed to say that out loud. But let's go ahead and talk about history repeating itself. Let's talk about taxation. Chicago has a tax for everything. Water tax, grocery tax, tourist tax, hotel tax, bag tax, liquor tax, cigarette tax, the highest sales tax in the country by far, parking tax, surcharge of downtown parking, property lease tax, and streaming tax. The only thing that you all don't have a tax for yet is oxygen tax. And the only reason why you don't have a tax for that just yet is because you ain't figured out how to do it yet. But let me not speak too soon, because you probably might actually think it's a good idea and you're going to try to write it down. So let's go ahead and talk about, let's not forget about the good old sugar tax.
Y'all remember y'all used to back in 2016 and you go to your favorite grocery store and you buy your favorite 24-pack of pop? Well, you paying more taxes on that pop than what the actual cost of it is. What you didn't know is that your buddy Brandon Johnson voted for that sugar tax. So it's not a surprise that he wants to pour a $40 million line of credit and put the city in even more debt than what we already are with the $1.2 billion deficit. But it's your fault that because you gave half the money to illegals. Also, it's lazy government is what you call it. So let's not forget that we got to watch these politics. And I was at that Board of Czar meeting. And Tom Homan said out of his mouth that it is illegal to harbor and conceal illegal aliens. So like I told you before, that you ain't gonna blink, well, we ain't gonna flinch either. Now, I'm gonna tell you another thing. All you illegals, you ain't gonna have no Merry Christmas. You're gonna have a Merry Deportation Christmas.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
You spent over $574 million on illegal immigrants here in Chicago, Illinois since 2022. Now, you still feel like you have to harbor these illegals, which is not a good idea. And in my personal opinion, I don't think it's a good idea to challenge Tom Homan on this because he's trying to clean up our cities, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Now, let me just remind everybody here that Brandon Johnson is terrible with the budget. How is this $40 million credit line is going to work exactly? Because the key word is credit. So how much will we be using from this $40 million? And the real question is, how much will we be paying back? Now, you want to sit here, you and J.B. Pritzker want to puff out your chest and fight Tom Homan. We need Tom Homan here in Chicago. We need Donald Trump. And I don't want to see people like Pam Bundy and Kash Patel, you know, haul you up out of here and become prosecuted. I don't want to see that happen. But they will do their job if they have to, Brandon Johnson. Now, we are $1 billion in debt. That's absolutely insane. Kamala Harris, she spent $1 billion on her campaign less than a year, and she's $20 million in debt. So it's looking like Democrats are bad with money. Now, you ignored me for 10 to 15 seconds last time I was speaking, and I really did not appreciate that at all. But I got a Christmas present for you. Let's remind the people of Chicago that Brandon Johnson spent $32,000 in campaign funds on haircuts and makeup. So I got an early Christmas present for you, Brandon Johnson. This is some makeup for you right here. You got some rouge, you got the makeup brush right there, so you can save this people some money, for crying out loud. Now, let me tell you people, I'm going to be serious here. We need to start voting different in these cities like New York and Chicago. Stop voting these people in. It's not Democrat versus Republican anymore. It is populist versus establishment. It is the populist versus the establishment. Stop letting them trick you into the race baiting when it comes to Brandon Johnson. Oh, black people need help too. Trump want to hurt black people. What are you talking about? We're legal here. We are legal. Now, I'm trying to be nice about this, and Mr. Brandon Johnson, I do respect you in a little bit of way because you're trying the best that you can. I really want to believe that, but listen, man, you got a 14% approval rating, so the people is looking like they're telling you that you're fired, man. So I'm just humbly asking you, Brandon Johnson, to please come up with something that's reasonable by the end of this year, because I don't want to see a government shutdown, Mr. Brandon Johnson. Please do your job. I don't care if you're black. Chicago needs to get rid of DEI. I don't care if you're black. Can you do the job? Can you do the job, Mr. Brandon Johnson? And it's looking like you can't do the job. So please don't fail us.
Hello, Mr. Mayor Brandon Johnson. As we close out Black History Month, let's talk about some real Black history. A. Philip Randolph was a black labor activist who opposed immigration. Booker T. Washington and Frederick Douglass were prominent black people in America who opposed immigration because they saw what immigration does to the black community. So this charade that you're doing with Donald Trump and Tom Homan, we see through it. It is a farce. Black people have always been against immigration, legal and illegal, because a lot of poor black people are at the low-wage labor market, and we don't need foreigners taking our jobs and competing with us. So being fighting against illegal immigration is the most black thing you can do. It is the pro-blackest thing you can do, is fighting illegal immigration. Don't let them tell you otherwise. Mayor Brandon Johnson, I am so happy that you are testifying before Congress, because the people of Chicago, especially on the south and west side, do not support sanctuary cities. I know the election is over and people are trying to distract you with lunatics protesting against deportations and Democrats doing what Democrats do. But do not forget that we in Chicago do not support sanctuary cities, especially the people who live on the south and west side, who had our schools turned into migrant shelters. And for all the people who are mad about Trump getting rid of DEI and critical race theory, those things were racist. You cannot fight past discrimination with future discrimination. If Martin Luther King saw what the Democratic Party has become, he would roll over in his grave. We want to know where that money went. $400 million to illegal aliens. People talk about, oh, reparations this and reparations that, and you have Democrats talking about all this stuff. They need to talk about where that money went, because that's where their money went. It's complete insanity. And might I say this, a lot of people say Donald Trump is anti-black. Donald Trump has acknowledged that birthright citizenship was meant for black people, for newly freed black slaves. That's black history. Democrats want to give it to immigrants. Donald Trump has said that illegals compete with black people for jobs. Democrats look the other way. Donald Trump has said that criminal illegal aliens should be deported out of poor black communities, while Democrats like Mayor Brandon Johnson and others fight tooth and nail to keep them here. They are not for black people. They are not. So y'all can call me a sellout for being black and a Trump supporter. That's fine. But y'all token DEI Democrats are a threat to democracy. Y'all are the crazy ones. So please tell me, to all the people who call me a sellout for voting for Trump, which one of us is really selling out, brother?
Good morning, City Council and Mayor. I know many people are here today to express their frustration with how the city is being run and how our tax dollars are being spent. But I'm here to say thank you. As the Executive Director of the Committee for Chicago Mayor Recall, I want to thank you for demonstrating exactly why a mayoral recall mechanism should be law in Chicago. From day one, your values have not reflected those of everyday Chicagoans. Instead, they align with CTU puppet masters and radical activists who sow distrust and division. A mayor should unite the city and prioritize public safety. You have done the opposite. Your administration includes an anti-Semitic, anti-law enforcement external affairs officer, a chief of staff who believes in peace circles will solve sexual harassment, and a senior advisor who allegedly committed election fraud in Texas and lacks a legitimate Chicago residence. Your leadership is failing, and the results speak for themselves. You say you don't do raggedy, but your leadership has been exactly that. Chicagoans, regardless of race, income, or religion, want to feel safe in their homes, on their streets, and in their schools. Yet under your watch, armed juvenile thugs continue to carjack, loot, and rob. You canceled ShotSpotter without a backup plan, endangering 2/3 of the city's population. Since that time, 34 people have died. That blood's on your hands and on the Vasquez 19 Progressive Caucus who supported you on that. You also failed to disclose your conflict of interest in CPS contract talks, benefiting from a deal while replacing the school board with unvetted CTU loyalists, firing CEO Martinez days before Christmas for refusing a reckless payday loan proves your priorities lie in union politics, not student success. The only ones benefiting from a better, safer, stronger Chicago are criminals and special interests. A recent poll shows you're at a dismal 6.6 approval rating, with support collapsing across all racial and ethnic groups. Given this overwhelming rejection and the loss of the confidence of the Chicago people, I'm demanding your immediate resignation. Your administration is incompetent, Chicago deserves better, and Little Dirk deserves his money back. He needs it for commissary. Thank you.
Good morning, Mayor Henyard.
Good morning.
Oh, wrong city, but it will be the same end result. Someone already talked about the 6.5% approval rating. I want to remind you, you were elected by half, roughly, 52% of 600,000 Chicagoans. That's about 12% of the population. You are literally at 6.5%. Donald Trump could run for mayor of Chicago right now and beat you. That's how unpopular you are and ridiculous this city has become. Before I talk about your esteemed Sergeant at Arms and his illegal policies for public speaking, I want to talk about this bond vote you're all going to take. $800 million with a $2 billion end price tag. Ridiculous. Why? So the king grifter over there can give his girl Stacey Gates, who has been to his house several times to backdoor negotiate contract proposals, can get her pound of flesh out of the city taxpayers. Well, the reality is, you talked about other labor leaders being on a leave of absence while they serve as president, and you're no different as the mayor. Are you really that clueless? Are your fifth graders you used to teach really that much brighter than you? You're the mayor. You're negotiating on behalf of the city. You are not representing the membership, but you are because you're still technically a member of CTU while you're negotiating the contract for the taxpayers of this city. Where is the Inspector General? Where are the rest of you holding him accountable for this? He should be forced to fully resign from CTU while these negotiations are going on. It is a direct conflict of interest, but you're all sitting on your hands and your asses doing nothing. I'm just telling you, for those of you who think you're going to vote yes for this ridiculous bond issue, just know we have a giant PAC fund that will continue to grow at FOP 7, and you will all be on the target list. We will recruit candidates, and we will not be able to take maybe all of you out, but we're certainly going to target anybody that votes yes for this. And you're going to say, what has this got to do with the police? We are taxpayers, and many of us are the primary taxpayers in this city. So my members are sick of getting a decent contract and then having it stolen out of their back pocket in the same sentence. It will end, or your political careers will. I can assure you of that. And you're going to follow suit with him and Tiffany Henyard and be in the forgotten pile of politic history. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you say Trump? Can you say Trump? Let's do this, little spotter. That's what I'm saying. Come on over here, sir. We waiting on you. Here we go. Here we go.
You got your little red scarf. See, everybody put me on the red. Looking at your Facebook stuff, I didn't think you'd be with me, but I guess maybe you are.
The Thumney City Councilman member, I warn you, do not sit with Brandon Johnson. We're going to get them seats.
Donald Trump is the last person in America who cares about families on the south and west side of Chicago. Our call to the president and to his fellow Republicans. Trump gutted the agency that actually catches gun traffickers just so that he could hand money to ICE and Border Patrol. This president doesn't care about gun violence. He just wants his own secret police force that will do publicity stunts whenever his poll numbers are sinking, whenever his jobs report shows a stagnating economy, whenever he needs another distraction from his failures. That's what this is about. He's worried about the wrong border. We don't have an immigration crisis in Chicago. We have a gun crisis, and the president could care less about the real solutions.
It is absurd. He's lying, and he knows he's lying.
It's just gone from bad to worse to disaster.
Hit that like button if you found this compilation interesting. Last, NBC5 reported, President Donald Trump Wednesday took a step back from talk of sending the National Guard to Chicago, saying Governor J.B. Pritzker would have to ask for the assistance. The governor bluntly dismissed such an idea Wednesday. Pritzker said he will not be calling the White House to ask for federal intervention because of the potential for legal challenges against the deployment of the National Guard. He wants to set into the fact pattern that the governor called him to ask for help. Why? Because he's going to end up in court, Pritzker said. He's going to end up in court, and that will be a fact that they will use in court. That the governor called to ask for help, and I'm sorry I'm not going to provide him with evidence to support his desire to have the court rule in his favor. I'm just not going to do that. Just one day after Trump said we're going in, when asked about stepping up federal intervention in Chicago, the president seemingly walked back the idea of sending in the National Guard without a request from Pritzker and other local officials. We could straighten out Chicago. All they have to do is ask us, he told reporters. I want to go into Chicago, and I have this incompetent governor who doesn't want us. On Tuesday, Trump had insisted he could send in the National Guard without Pritzker's approval. Tom Homan said, we are coming and get out of the way. Period.